Just the other week, I was incredibly proud to make a video on how I doubled my account from 8 grand to 16 grand. And by the time I'd actually released it on YouTube, I had in fact made it up to 20 grand. Well, today it pains me to tell you that a week after releasing that video, I completely wiped out all that profit and I fell right back down to where I'd started. So let's find out what went so disastrously wrong. From the beginning of the year, my account was in profit for the first time ever, and I was steadily increasing that profit with real consistent trading, as you can see here on my P&L chart. It was a little bit choppy at first, but I really started to smooth the curve out by minimising my losses and increasing my wins. I really gained extra consistency after I started to keep really up to date with the economic calendar and the current economical news stories such as the US inflation worries and then the rumours of possible outbreak of war in Ukraine. But the day that the war officially broke out, my account got absolutely annihilated. I'd been trading so well up to that point, but looking back on it now, maybe it was all just very easy and obvious, subconsciously making me feel somewhat overconfident. But when the war actually did break out, the market started behaving in a way that I was not expecting at all. Obviously, when Putin made the initial announcement, the markets did take a nosedive, but that was in the middle of the night. But as the day unfolded, the market actually recovered most of those losses and ended up doing quite well. Alas, I did not. It's clear to me now that my run of success up to this point had made me a little bit complacent and cocky, and I almost felt like I'd finally cracked it, and whatever I was going to do was going to have a good outcome. I'd clearly gotten to a point where I felt far too overconfident and I'd taken my eye off the ball. And on the day that war officially broke out, without really thinking it through, I went in for a short position in the pre-market about an hour before the open. Now I went short here because my total thought process was war bad. From where I placed my entry an hour before the open, it never actually went into profit once. But I kept thinking, surely it's got to drop. I mean, World War III is about to break out, come on. Because of this, I held on for 5 grueling hours until Biden came on the telly to do his speech. I watched this and I thought, yeah, everything he's saying is pretty dire, so surely this has got to drop now, and I mean really drop. But it didn't, and it rallied. And before I knew it, I was down by so much I can't even bring myself to say it out loud. And that's when I eventually cut the trade, wiping out more than half of my profits. Now that night, I lay in bed thinking, it's alright. If you can lose that amount in a day, surely you can make it all back in a day as well. You got this. So the next day I got up and I started trading at 11 AM and I didn't finish until 8 PM. Now usually I never ever make more than 3 trades in one day, but on this day I made 37. Proper traditional recklessly desperate revenge trading. Thing is, I actually managed to recoup almost £3,000 of the loss, which was almost half. And that's when I should have stopped, but I stupidly kept on going and ended the day with even less than when I started. Then came the weekend and I had terrible anxiety, my stomach was in knots, and I just couldn't get out of this awful mood. I felt so angry with myself for not cutting the trade and for revenge trading and for not stopping when I'd actually made some of it back. So I reached out to fellow trader Stevie Trades because the same thing had happened to him recently. And you may have seen the Zed Monopoly interview with him discussing what had happened. It was really good to unload and to speak to somebody about it, and he gave me some really great advice and made me feel slightly better about the situation. So thanks, Stevie. So I spent the weekend cooling off, trying not to think too deeply about it all. Obviously that wasn't going to happen. And I would lay at night awake thinking about what I should have done, what I shouldn't have done, what I could have done with all that money if I'd just withdrawn it. Just driving myself insane, basically. And I'd realised that I'd actually been waiting for this to happen. Over the past couple of months, I had been watching my P&L chart going up and up and up, and the whole time I never really felt happy about any of the wins. Because I knew deep down that at some point along the line, there's going to come a trade where I'm just not going to have the discipline to close it, and it's going to wipe out all of my hard work. I knew it was a matter of time before this would happen, and it turns out that I was right. So then Monday came and I got straight back on it again, and disaster turned into nightmare. Every single trade I made, the market would just do the opposite, as if it was watching and waiting for me, wiping out more and more of my account. How could I have been so consistent for such a long time to all of a sudden not being able to get one single trade to go in my favour? I'll tell you why. Because my mindset had changed. And because my mindset had changed, I was making dreadful dreadful decisions and terribly timed entries because I was so desperate to get my money back as quickly as possible. So desperate to get it back that I completely changed the way I traded. Before, when I was trading consistently and successfully, I was trading the market open on the Dow, sticking to maybe 1 or 2 trades per day, but I've been trading in the pre-market before the market opened multiple times. And I also even started trading the Nasdaq because I thought I could put down a bigger position size. I mean, everything I did was absolutely destined for failure. By the time I'd dropped right back down to the break-even level, that is when the fear really started to set in and I became afraid. I'd lost all confidence and I was scared to even put on a trade. I was frozen watching the price action, not able to do anything but see so many good opportunities pass me by because I was too frightened to open a position. Luckily, I eventually managed to get a few successful trades in, which helped spur me on a bit, but man, did my confidence take a knock. In the grand scheme of things, I do have to keep telling myself that all this is a positive experience, as these catastrophic events are the most important lessons and are a well-needed slap in the face from the market when you insult its almighty power with your complacency and overconfidence. We need to respect the market by never ever underestimating it, and respect yourself by protecting your assets. This seems like a catastrophic loss now, but in the long run, this experience will make me a better trader. The deeper the battle scar, the bigger the lesson. So I've come to terms with the fact that you just simply cannot make lost money back in a hurry, and the harder you try, the more you'll lose. So the best thing to do is just look back at what you were doing when you were getting things right, and just keep doing that. And if that means that you won't make all your loss back for another 4 or 5 weeks or whatever, then that's just the way it has to be. I am, however, working on a new strategy at the moment, because there were certain aspects of my previous strategy that I'd like to remove. Things such as using a manual stop loss. This just enables undisciplined trading, waiting and waiting for losing trades to come back in my favour, causing stress and inevitably huge losses. So my new strategy eliminates that. And also, it doesn't involve having any bias based on the news. So it's purely down to price action and support and resistance levels. And I've been working on this with a demo account for the past 4 weeks with my new broker, TD365, who are brilliant. They have the tightest spreads I've ever seen with high leverage and minimal slippage. And I'll be doing an in-depth look at their platform very, very soon. So keep an eye out for that. And in the meantime, if you'd like to join TD365, then please do use my affiliate link in the description below and open a demo account to see if it works for you. I'm loving it. But as I said, I'll go into more depth in the next video, and I'll also be talking more about my new strategy, which only works with a broker like this, who offers such tight spreads. So anyway, in the meantime, you know what to do with a like and subscribe. Come and follow me on Instagram. Have a look at TD365 with the link below, and I'll see you right here next time on MathMarks.